Now, one of the things I'd like to mention, because it's sort of critical to understanding how everything really works, is that we are a portable electronic device. The human is a portable electronic device. And anyone will recognize that for a portable electronics device to work, you have to have a battery system. Now, one of the keys to understanding this is to understand piezoelectricity. That funny word means that when you stress an object, it emits electrons. So, for example, if you take a piece of quartz and you squeeze it with a pair of pliers, then it emits electrons. Well, it turns out that our muscles are piezoelectric. So every time you move your muscle, so as I move my elbow like this, I'm generating voltage. The other piece of the puzzle is that our muscles are rechargeable batteries. And so each organ in the body has its own battery pack. And that battery pack is a stack of very specific muscles. So our muscles, as you know, go from horizontal diaphragm to horizontal diaphragm. So we're talking about base of the foot, ankle, knee, hips, diaphragm of the body, top of the chest, and the floor at the base of our skull. Those are the body's horizontal diaphragms, and our muscles are suspended from one horizontal diaphragm to the next one. And those horizontal diaphragms actually serve as the contact points for batteries that have a polarity of, just like any battery, minus on one end, plus on the other. So these batteries began actually either in our feet or in our hands and are stacked up. So we have a specific stack of batteries that goes to every organ. So what that means then is that as long as we keep those battery packs charged, then we have adequate voltage, not only to make that organ work, because all the cells require, as I mentioned, minus 20, minus 25 millivolts to be able to work, but they also supply the voltage to make the new cells. So what you will find is if you measure the voltage in these battery packs and or the associated organs, in chronic disease, it's essentially always low. And that's one of the keys. That's why I coined the term healing is voltage, because you have to correct the voltage if you're going to not only have the energy to make each organ work, but to be able to make new cells to keep that organ maintained. So the other piece of the puzzle is that people have argued for thousands of years what an acupuncture meridian is. People see them drawn as simple lines on a diagram of the body with various dots on it indicating that those are specific points along that acupuncture circuit. Well, my theory is that the acupuncture meridians are actually the stocking of fascia that surrounds each muscle. Anyone who's carved a Christmas turkey is familiar with fascia. You see this glistening sheet of stuff that surrounds each muscle, and that's called fascia. Well, one of the interesting things about fascia is not only does it surround every muscle battery like a stocking, but fascia is known to be a semiconductor. So what's a semiconductor? Well, if you assemble specific molecules in a specific order and they have extra electrons, those electrons can move quickly and easily from one molecule to the next, but they can only move in one direction. And they move quite rapidly. So electrons move through semiconductors much, much faster than a signal can move through a nerve. And therefore, The fascia around our muscle batteries are, in my view, the acupuncture meridians. So a meridian is not a wire, it's not a nerve, it's not any other device. It's simply the stocking of fascia that surrounds our muscle batteries. And so we have these muscle batteries that are wired together exactly like you have muscles, our batteries stacked up in a flashlight. And that supplies the voltage to each individual organ. Now, some organs, like the brain, for example, have multiple battery packs going to different parts of the brain. So, for example, the frontal lobe of the brain gets its power supply from what's called the spleen and stomach circuit. And the sides of the head here, like this, that's supplied by what's called the gallbladder circuit. And then the center part of the head here is supplied by what's called the bladder circuit. And the midbrain and the pituitary and the optic nerve are all supplied by the liver circuit. It gets really fascinating when you start thinking about these muscle batteries. For example, as I began to learn more about acupuncture, I ran across the fact that the acupuncturists believe that emotions are an issue of the gallbladder circuit. And as a traditionally trained physician, I thought, how in the world can that be? What does a gallbladder have to do with emotions? But once you began to recognize that both the gallbladder and the parts of the brain here where memories and emotions are stored have the same power supply, then it becomes quite obvious that if the power supply becomes insufficient, that you're going to have trouble with your gallbladder and your emotions at the same time.